Two revolutionary tools are overhauling healthcare as we know it today: genome sequencing and CRISPR engineering.
They can allow doctors to custom design treatments based off your DNA. And joining us to talk about it, help us understand it, Dr. Sabrina Fabi. We always appreciate these kinds of insights. We talked about CRISPR technology. It's been kind of in our discussion for a few years now, but help us understand what we're talking about here.
We talked about it about like 2 or 3 years ago when in China they were calling it like a designer baby.
Right.
You could potentially alter the genome of someone and make them how you want them. And so when we talk about genes, basically we have 3.2 trillion cells in our body, and so many of them are made up of almost 32 billion letters from your mother, 32 billion from your father, and those all together become your DNA. And so we've always talked about gene therapy. That's something that's been used to treat cancer. By removing the gene that's perhaps mutated, you can also perhaps clear that cancer. But what CRISPR technology does is it's a little bit more precise. It actually can change one of the letters. So not the entire gene, but just a letter, which is sometimes mutated, whether it's in cancer or whether it's in some type of genetic disease that causes sickle cell or that causes cystic fibrosis. And so with more precision, the thought is that we're going to be able to target not only diseases, but also prevent them from even occurring by treating people maybe who have the BRCA gene in advance. If you know you already have the BRCA gene, you can perhaps as an embryo change that, and then when they're born, they no longer have that mutation.
So they don't have it. What is genome sequencing? That we're talking about as well.
Yes, so you would almost need, if you're going to use this, not just to necessarily treat cancer once you already know the mutation, but perhaps before it even occurs. This came from a study that was done at Boston Brigham's Hospital, where they basically took 100 people and they subjected them to DNA sequencing or genome sequencing. And what they found was that a quarter of the time they had a severe genetic mutation that they weren't even aware of. Now, to do these types of sequencing, classically it's cost thousands of dollars, but the thought is that eventually we're going to get to the point where you can do it for hundreds of dollars at the comfort of your own bathroom. And with that information, then you could potentially go somewhere and then apply this CRISPR technology and alter those particular letters in that gene of your DNA so that you no longer have the gene that predisposes you for Alzheimer's or for stroke or for colon cancer.
So how close are we to this being usable technology for us, and how long are we going to live now? I mean, is this like
could we
infinite
live?
We
life
always
at this
still
point?
hear 120 years,
right?
You know, we still always kind of hear that. We would have to find a way to also make those cells last longer. So not just change the mutations, but make the cell want to live longer.
It makes you feel like we're close to that, aren't we?
We are. I mean, we've already created, in China, they did ban it because they thought it was a little unethical. The thought or concept of the designer baby, I'm going to pick the hair color and the eye color. But if you know, who's to say what's ethical? So if you can change the genes so that somebody could live longer because
or not have cancer,
you know, presently there's about 5 studies going on in the United States. One is on sickle cell anemia. One is actually changing the immune system of someone so that it can recognize a certain type of cancer and fight it off. Another one is actually with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
The
immunotherapy. So we're seeing a lot. What I think is super fascinating is how are they going to administer this? So they're looking at administering it for diabetes. We always talk about this. They've actually successfully done it in mice by applying a skin graft with the CRISPR technology, and it all of a sudden tells the pancreas to start secreting insulin. Eardrops for people who have hereditary, deafness, and even, instead of an antibiotic pill, you're going to take a CRISPR pill, and it'll change the mutation in whatever's causing your perhaps pneumonia. So I think it's very promising. I think we're closer than we think we are.
Okay.
Wow.
Really interesting
amazing.
As always.
You could eliminate a lot of things.
For you.
I do too.
We'll continue to talk about it. Dr. Fabi, thank you very much.
Guys.